Okay, we are back. We are back after the break. I believe, Eric, we ended with
We had a special guest appearance
we had
from
a
my
special
dad.
we had a special guest appearance from your father, which was completely unexpected.
Random, unannounced, and actually pulled the perfect validation to that story
to
about the
putting
lull
to putting a vehicle on
as,
top of
as
a
as to
Connex.
why I thought I could, pull that Jeep Cherokee out of the ditch stuck in the mud, with the lull, and why I thought that was a good idea.
Well, coming from somebody who's been in these situations 1,000 times, I really wish you would have just said, you know what, Mike, you're probably right. Let's just put a chain around his hitch and yank him out. Because the lull had plenty of power to do that. But I couldn't stop you in your stride of confidence when you said, I'm just going to pick up the back end of the vehicle and pull him out. No big deal.
I may or may not have had several beers before that episode, and I actually was really looking forward to
To just putting the forks under the
to just lifting the truck up and pulling it out, like just yeah. I mean,
It was epic on my end. I loved it.
it worked well in my mind.
Yes, yes. So this begins the story of us. And I think I want to start with one story because these would be a little bit quicker in your childhood that we can roll through these. And the one I want to start with is you and a friend of yours, Mike, and his wife Gina, and I believe it was Tiffany, your
My ex-wife.
your ex-wife. But what was she there? And she was there. We went to your beach house. We went to your parents' beach house. It was
Oak Island.
Oak Island, and beautiful little place right on the water.
Right on the ocean, 1615 East Beach Road, Long Beach, which
In case you
now,
want to walk right up to the front door.
yeah, it was like six houses down from Ocean Crest Fishing Pier, right on the ocean. It's a
Yeah.
perfect location.
Well, we got there and we started playing spades, which is a delightful game. That was so much fun. And we were in our younger years, and that game continued on until at least 5 o'clock in the morning. And I knew the whole night while we're playing spades, you were saying, we're going out on the boat, we're going fishing. We're going fishing tomorrow. I'm like, hell
That's the
yeah.
whole reason why we go to Long Beach,
Yeah.
Oak Island now. Long Beach
So what
is
so explain the boat you had at the time.
so that boat was my second boat, technically my dad's boat. My first boat was a beautiful wooden Grady White, 16-foot Honduran mahogany, early 60s model, I believe, handcrafted, all wood, stained, with the ribs, like
What was
just,
the boat we had that
and
time?
so that well just I've always had a boat. That was my first, and the second, and then that ended up getting stolen at some point in Carolina Beach, and then my dad actually bought that boat, the Grady White, for basically for me and him to use. And to put, he already had the beach house, and we put it in the Blue Water Point Marina right down the street from the beach house on the southern part
Yep.
of Oak Island. Had a slip down there. It was a 25.5 foot Sea Cat, which was the
I know it had a small cuddy
it
cabin.
was the no, it didn't. It was the precursor to World Cat. Before World Cat, there was Sea Cat. It was the first generation of twin hull um,
I know what you're talking about,
catamarans.
and the one we went out on that weekend was not that one.
Okay, so then you're talking about that Miss Kitty was the Sea Cat that was that my dad had bought, and it was in the marina down there. I actually we sold that. He sold that and let me use the money he got from selling that to buy another. He was done with the boat business, but he
Yep.
let me used that money to buy the sailfish, which was a walk
It was like a
around.
26-foot.
No, it was actually 24. I
Okay.
think. I think it was a 24-foot walk around is technically what they called it, but it had a cuddy cabin.
Yeah, yeah. That's the one we had at the time.
Yeah, and that was a newer boat. That Miss Kitty, the Sea Cat, had twin Suzuki 140 outboards.
Yeah,
two
I do
strokes
remember
were,
that boat.
Yeah, they
But
were
that's not the one we had on this
terrible
trip.
motors, really inefficient. They were high maintenance. They were always had problems. The Sailfish had a single Yamaha 254 stroke that was a dream. Never,
All right.
Never had a problem with that one.
The boats aren't the main part of the story.
They're the main part of my life.
They're wonderful, but okay. So we had the first boat that I do vaguely remember, but the 24-footer was the one we had.
Yeah.
When we went out there and played spades all night.
All right.
And Mike, the gentleman that was with us, one of our friends, and his wife.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, we're trying to avoid last names. If you know,
Well, it's up to them. It's up to them to do it. It's not our part to throw that in there.
Listening, if you know who these people are, and if you don't, then you don't need to, and it doesn't matter. So we're just leaving out last names for the time being. And so Mike.
Well, if they're ever here, they can throw their last name out there.
Yeah.
Because Mike and Brian, yes, please. At some point in time, come down to this bar and let's have a conversation.
Down to Mike's.
But anyways, Mike was there, and he's a big surfer.
Yeah.
And I've never surfed before, and I was like, I would love to do it. So, we played spades till I'm guessing it was probably 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I feel like I just shut my eyes. And Mike nudged me. Hey, it's time to go. We're going surfing. I was like,
Mike has a quote that he's told me. I've heard many, many mornings. You'll get all the sleep you need when you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't miss out on anything.
He does not.
Yeah. He takes life by the tail, and he
wonderful family.
Absolutely
wonderful,
great people, the most amazing people, and honored to call them my friends and family.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
They're just amazing people.
Well, he took me out on the water first thing in the morning, and needless to say, I was severely hungover. And I'm usually an athletic person for the most part, and I thought, how hard could surfing be?
Oh, you had never surfed
I've
before.
never surfed before. I've never been on a surfboard. I was like, how hard could this be? Well, apparently, severely hungover, it's extremely hard. And so he gets me out there on a few waves, and he's like, look, you just get rolling and pop up. Get rolling and pop up. So
that pop-up part, it's easy to say that.
Yeah,
it's almost impossible to do. You can do it on shore when you're getting surf lessons and somebody teaches you by putting a surfboard on the sand and just says pop up. And you can do that. But when you're in the water and the water's bobbling around, it's damn near impossible.
It is damn near impossible. And for me that morning, it was impossible. And the first time I went to pop up, I obviously ate wake, and I swallowed, had to be a half gallon of salt water.
That's no good.
Just sucked it in. And when you've drank that much beer,
you can't recover from that.
You can't recover from. I came into shore and just started hurling.
Even had
salt
you
water.
Been sober on 8 hours of sleep, in perfect condition, you're not recovering from, a big gulp of salt water
to the system.
Yeah.
So then after that, you're up and it's time to go fishing.
That's right. That's what we went there for.
So, Mike, who didn't swallow any salt water, is ready to rock and roll. and you're ready to rock and roll, and my stomach's already turning, and I'm not a seagoing person. Like, I've never been out on the water before.
Really? At
No.
that point, you had never
At that
been on
point,
the
I'd
water?
never been out on the sea.
Oh, so you
And I can handle it well. But that morning, after drinking all night, swallowing seawater, my first time out on the waves, it did not go well for me at all.
Well, let me ask this: knowing that you have at this point in your life been on the water on boats many times,
Yeah.
Do you get nauseous? Do you get
No.
seasick at all ever?
Not
under
no.
any conditions?
No, I've even been out on a boat where I went an hour and a half out and went fishing after a hangover.
In rough seas.
In rough seas.
So, like, you can read a book in the back seat of a car while somebody's driving through
Yes.
a windy mountain road.
Yes.
And no problem. Okay. Yeah.
Well-
See, that's not me. Like, I get nauseous. I have to get my sea legs. I have to earn my sea legs every season, every year. It takes one or two
Really?
trips every year. Yeah. It takes one or two trips. And then I get my sea legs, and then I'm good to go.
Well, that trip started out with the perfect cocktail of you're not going to feel good through this whole adventure. Because when we were going through the port, I was feeling okay. I was hungover. You guys are already having a mixed drink. It's 8:30 in the morning.
It was rum and
Yeah,
Coke
we were yelling
maybe
pirate,
just rum.
pirates, arr, off the side of the boat.
Probably playing some Irish music, drinking songs.
We were throwing the net. We were catching bait fish.
Yeah,
I was still good to go.
Yeah, filling up the live well, the Manhattan. Yeah.
But when we got out on the open sea through the intercoastal waterway, and we started hitting those 3 to 4 foot waves.
Oh, they weren't that big.
They were about 3, 4.
I wouldn't have taken.
Go ahead and call them smaller, Eric. Go ahead.
I wouldn't have.
I was being a bitch.
But
to me, they were 20-foot waves.
Okay, all right.
To me,
20-footers,
and I was so green, like I can't even tell. I did throw up.
Yeah.
I obviously hurled over the side, and I got to the point where, and this is how you know you got a good friend. I got to the point where I was so sick. I said, Eric, I got to go in. I'm not going to make it. I can't stay out here. So what's my buddy do? He gets me about 150. Tell me if I'm lying, by the way. Gets me about 150, 200 yards from shore and says, I can let you off here, but I can't go back in. I said, cool. This is close enough. Because I was that sick. And I hopped overboard like 2 football fields out.
all you had to do was lay on your back and let the waves
And I did.
coast you, roll
And I
you
did.
right into shore.
I did the backstroke for about 25
You
minutes.
didn't even have to backstroke. You could have just laid on your back, closed your eyes, taken a nap, and the waves would have
take a nap.
gently carried you like a soft, fluffy pillow
Sure.
right into shore.
Sure. And this is the advice that was given to me. And I took it. I took it at face value. That's
Well-
not true at all. I backstroked forever. And I finally got in.
That was
and
your
I
choice.
sat in the, I had to go in. I was so sick. And I didn't want to ruin you guys' day. So I backstroked in from forever out. And I sat in the shower at your beach house for at least an hour, just like trying to just get my bearings back. I was so pale white and just god awful sick. Seasick is the worst.
It is. It is the worst, and
Oh.
I go through it. I don't know. I'm a glutton for punishment. I go through it every year, to get my sea legs, and it absolutely is horrible. And I have learned some tricks over the years on how to mitigate it. And one of them actually is getting in the water. The best trick is to actually get in the water. You don't wait. If you wait till you're throwing up or on the brink of throwing up, it's too late. You got to catch it early, and you've got to you've got to balance out your equilibrium. And the best way to do that is to get in the water, and just float with the
Float
swells.
with the waves.
Just
Yeah.
stop the boat,
Get used
turn the
to it.
boat off, so you're not smelling diesel fumes or gas fumes, and just turn the motor off and just jump out of the boat and just float.
Well,
you know?
that
And that balances the equilibrium, and then once you feel better, you jump back in, and you're good to go. Usually, driving the boat helps, staring at the horizon helps, things like that. But the best trick is to actually get in the water.
that was a great weekend and a rough end. But, after that, we'd always see each other in passing in the bar and stuff, and we were hanging out. And there's many more stories where I get sick because we always turned it up a notch.
Talking about you and Mike?
No, I'm talking about me and you.
Oh, me and you. Oh.
Like when, Eric's father, Renee, who you saw earlier, he built a castle.
An actual castle with a moat.
Actual castle with a moat in a high-dollar neighborhood.
It's on the front page of the Raleigh News and Observer.
Yes. And before that house was built, there was a house already on that property, which Eric lived at for a short period of time.
Yeah, it was going to tear it down in 116 Lochinvar Court.
Well, we don't have to get that specific.
Oh, why not?
but this house, Eric lived in for a little while. And so what better place to throw epic parties than a house that's going to get bulldozed? And this isn't like a shack. This isn't in the ghetto.
Nice
this is on the 9th hole. This is a
Downs.
3,000 square foot house.
Nicest golf course.
Oh my God.
Country club in Wake County, I'm pretty sure.
So here's us hoodlums in this high-dollar home in a high-dollar neighborhood.
And this house has 6 months left to live.
Yes.
And we knew it.
And we knew it. Yes. And that house, we had a paintball war inside that house.
We had a lot of wars inside the house.
We and you did keep a lot of it to your you when you built your new house, you took some of the I think you took the island, some of the kitchen,
all the kitchen cabinets, and all the living room cabinets became my bar and back bar.
There you go.
Yeah. And my kitchen cabinets, the island, the kitchen.
It was
cabinets.
a pretty ranch house.
Yeah, it was great.
It was probably what 70s house.
Yeah, it was outdated, but it was.
Well, I mean, I like that architectural style.
Yeah,
the 70s. I love those ranch houses with the big back windows and the like the courtyard type feel.
Yeah,
I love that.
But the castle had to be built, and there's a story behind that why it had to be a castle. Renee,
your dad.
My dad was an orphan, and he was adopted. I'm Eric Lloyd Langford II. Eric Lloyd Langford, my namesake, was the guy that adopted my dad in Jamaica, a white Jamaican. Well, Dad was in a boarding school, Knox College. They call it a college, even though it was, grade school. We would call grade school. And he was there as an orphan before he was adopted. And the school went on a field trip at one point to somewhere. I don't even remember what country, but they went to a castle, like an actual real, historic castle. And I guess my dad had a reputation of maybe being a little clumsy or something, or and he was told by the teacher in front of the class or something, like he couldn't, I can't remember the details. I wish he was still here, he could tell the details, but something about like you can't go through this part of the castle or whatever, like we don't want you to break something or whatever it was, but it stuck with him his entire life. And once he got to the level of success where he was actually able to build, his own perfect dream home where money was literally not an object in the procedure, he literally built a castle with a moat as kind of like
a lot of that house was exterior. Like the exterior was the real kicker. Like you had all granite exterior with a granite driveway, right?
The granite stone. We had the guy. Okay, so
He came from another country.
now,
And he actually interviewed you guys.
so we thought we were interviewing him, and by the end of the interview, we realized that he was interviewing us to make sure we were worthy. Our project was worthy of his time to come and do it.
That's wild.
And yeah, and this guy took over 2 years to do all the stonework. He was so
The
meticulous.
house is gorgeous.
He would bring in, the pallets of stone and go through them. He would send back, return to the quarry at least half of the pallets.
Wow.
And he would find a stone that was close enough to, the next stone that needed to be placed. He'd go through a couple pallets, find one that was close enough, and then still cut every face of that stone to make it perfect. So a couple days after he started, where he turned the first corner from the garage, and we were looking at it, we're like, this doesn't even look real. We're like, I think his name was Lincoln. Yeah. And we said, Lincoln, this looks fake. Like, you're too good. Like, you need to make it look a little more realistic. Like, because this literally looks like it's just fake, Disneyland,
Yeah, that's wild.
perfect plastic, whatever. Like, it's too perfect, man. You need to, make, what I'm saying? Like no real stone is going to be this perfect. And so, we ended up getting him to recess the mortar joints a little bit more, and, and just make it look a little more like.
Now tell me, there was actually an issue with the moat, right? You guys actually made a moat that the neighborhood was like, you can't have this. Is that correct?
We did not ask permission for any to the homeowners association for anything we did on that house. And the homeowners association came by several times trying to stick their nose in it and wanted to have their say so.
Yeah.
And we ignored them every step of the way. We just ignored them.
Did you ever get any fines for?
Oh no! What are they going to do? We were literally in the newspaper several times. On the front page of the Saturday or
it would
Sunday
be bad
edition.
publicity.
What are they going to do? Like, it was the most expensive house in McGregor Downs. On the 9th hole. In the most prestigious cul-de-sac. And
I threw up in that 9th hole.
Mike threw up in the 9th hole.
I did.
Should we go ahead and tell that story?
Well, that story starts out at a Mexican restaurant in Cary, and Eric and I decided to relinquish all of their tequila.
We had the bright idea, us two knuckleheads. We were celebrating something, or for whatever reason, we decided we were.
It could have been a Tuesday. We were celebrating.
Should have been Taco Tuesday. We decide to try to take one shot of every bottle of tequila that they had displayed on their bar, and they had a lot of them. And
yes.
Needless to say, we didn't get a quarter of the way through before Mike's running for the door. Gets to the door. The door
was locked,
and there's no chance of him turning around. It was the door to the outside. The bathroom was on the complete opposite end of the restaurant. There's no chance of him getting back to anywhere else. He knew it. He was screwed, so he just threw up right there.
That was the first. That was the first hurl of the evening.
And then our driver picked us up. I got him out to around through the restaurant, stumbling through the restaurant, paid the bill on the way out, get into the car.
We got back to the old house. This was pre-castle.
Pre-castle, yeah. The house that was torn down to build the castle.
Yeah.
And end up in the out on the 9th hole, which was,
Well, we decided to hit some balls.
Was that same night?
That was that same night we decided to hit balls, and we went on to the tee box of the 9th hole that we could not see any. You can't see anything.
Did we have glow in the dark balls or
anything? No, God, glow in the ball dark balls didn't even exist.
Oh,
we were just out there swinging, and we swung for the fences, and everybody was just listening, like, oh yeah, it sounded like a good shot. So then when we finally get to the hole
to go look for the balls.
to go look for the balls we never found, I hurled into the ninth
I'm
hole
still
cup.
looking for the balls, and next thing I hear is, yeah, I look over and Mike's on all fours and puking into the cup.
I thought it would be a nice surprise for
green.
the members in the morning. It was a member surprise on the ninth hole.
I'm sure it didn't take too much calculus to figure out who left that little present, what house that came from.
Yeah, it could have. Yeah, you'd never know. You'd never know. So this slowly leads up to a story we are about to epically embark on together, and I think we were at the bar, and we were talking, and I said, Eric, let's go down the Cape Fear River.
Before we get to that, I got one other bar story to slip in, because by the time we get through the Cape Fear, this might
end an episode. Yeah.
So I've got one other bar story, epic bar story. At the Cape at the this was
at the house. Was this pre-castle?
No, this was pre. I'm pretty sure pre-castle. Yeah, it would have had to have been pre-castle. And it was at the Draft House, McGregor Draft House, and it was when it was before they did the expansion, and you were no longer working there. I'm pretty sure. And
are you talking about absinthe?
And we may have been on absinthe before going over there, and we had a contest. Can we tell this story?
Well, before you tell the story, and let's try to keep it as clean as we can.
It wasn't a contest; it was a dare. We had a dare.
But what happened was, this was pre-castle. This was in the house. You actually came back from Czechoslovakia, from your father's homeland, with a actual bottle of absinthe.
Yeah.
Like a legit bottle of.
Yeah.
It has wormwood in it.
Which is illegal. It's so hard to get. Like, you can't. When you get absinthe from the ABC store here, it's not the real absinthe with wormwood. That's an illegal substance, a banned substance. So I brought a bottle back that was legit, and then found a way to order from overseas the real deal.
So we had I think 2 shots of that absinthe liquor.
Was that when
at your house?
Mike did, took his shot and then just projectile vomited into
it might have been, but I know we were at the sink. You said we melt some sugar.
Yeah.
You pour the sugar into the shot.
You light it on fire. You got the spoon with the sugar cube, and then you put some absinthe on it, and the absinthe is like 150 proof or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you light that on fire, and it drips into the shot, and then you put it in as the sugar melts, stir it.
Yeah.
It's called the Green Fairy. It turns the absinthe from green to chalky, milky white once that happens.
I don't even remember that part, but I know we had 2 shots of absinthe.
Yeah.
And then we went to the bar.
Yeah.
We were like, well, it's time to go to the bar. We're feeling great.
Yeah.
Well, the crazy thing is I felt so good.
Right?
We were having such a good time at the bar. I didn't even drink.
Right.
I was having a glass of water.
Exactly. It's like we were high on a drug, which we were.
Apparently we were, but that liquor.
Yeah. Yeah, it
was unreal.
Liquor. It's not just liquor. There's a reason why it's banned.
But we decided to come up with a game.
Well, you did, I think.
I guess I did.
I'm going to put this one on you.
But I said, should we tell this?
Of course.
Let's just tell this. So the bar.
I'll dare you.
The bar, before the expansion, it was just a big U. And we were sitting on this side, and it's a big U-shaped bar.
Well,
and
it was an L-shape because there's the pool table.
And it was, it was a U-shaped, and the pool table was over here.
I feel like there was a restaurant was U-shaped, and then the L was the pool table.
There was a restaurant, a U-shaped bar, and then a pool table.
Okay.
We were sitting over here.
And we were in the restaurant.
And I said, Eric.
And it was completely packed, shoulder to shoulder. It was
completely shoulder to shoulder
and
packed.
that's important to understand. It was standing room only.
It was person to person in this place.
Yeah,
it was jamming.
Yeah, you had to kind of wiggle your way through
and we were joking, and I said, Eric, I bet you I can release, I can let it out of the bag and walk around this bar and nobody'd even notice.
Yeah, that's how packed it was, and that's how oblivious people were to everybody else, and probably just how oblivious we were, or obliterated we were.
Well,
and we kind of felt like we were in a video game.
It
like
was
when
a
you're in
different.
that
It was a
level of-
different kind of drunk.
Yeah,
or euphoria.
almost like
It's
a
very weird.
almost like a hallucinogen, where you just feel like you're in your own world and nobody else is in that world.
It was very weird. It was that bottle of liquor was. But anyways,
Yeah.
yes,
So the dare was
I let it out the fly.
let it hang out.
Let it hang out.
And how far can you walk? And the dare was walk all the way to the restaurant, around the pool table, and come back with your penis hanging out of your pants.
Yes.
And
to put it bluntly.
And he went first. He did it, and nobody reacted. And then I had to do it, of course. I mean, challenge accepted, gauntlet laid. So then I did it. I pulled my junk out and I walked through the restaurant to the pool table, around it, and all the way back.
It sounds crazy hearing it right now, but it seemed like a decent game at the time.
Yeah.
It was like, let's see if we can get away with this.
Yeah.
It felt normal.
And we knew.
And now it just sounds horrible.
We still
that
knew
we did it.
everybody there. This was back in the day.
Well,
we still knew all the girls that worked there, and
we knew everybody. It didn't really,
Right.
there wasn't a real consequence to what we were doing.
Right, exactly. And I don't know. I don't even know. It does sound like a terrible idea, in hindsight. How old were we? 20s?
20s, early 20s.
How old are you now? I'm 47.
47.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And yeah, it was I can't even explain that liquor. That's how I explain it.
That's the Green Fairy.
That felt like an okay thing to do.
That's the Green Fairy.
But at the same time, I didn't feel sick. I just had a great time. We had a great time.
But the other Mike, actually, as soon as he took that shot and it hit his throat, he had this like South Park style, just projectile.
It did not accept it. He didn't accept it.
Yeah.
He didn't accept it.
The fairy rejected him.
So
it was.
Getting absinthe from another country. Be careful what kind of games you decide to play afterwards, because that stuff is serious.
And make sure you're getting the real. You got to do some research. Make sure you're getting.
Well, I don't think you'd play the game if you didn't get the real one.
Yeah. Well, just to make sure you're getting the legitimate wormwood.
But that was a wild experience to drink that. And I've not been anywhere. And I actually had absinthe again, like maybe 8-9 years later.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
Because
it was probably an American version.
Most of it's fake. Yeah. Most of it's not.
Nothing like legitimate. That. But at that house, when we went on that little excursion of ours, and that was an experience. That was a different kind of liquor. I'll tell you that. I can't believe that's sold on the shelves in another country,
Just Czechoslovakia for you. Yeah.
So now that we're through that story, can we begin this? I want to start right at the beginning here. This is the Cape Fear River, the first attempt. Okay.
So let's talk about how this idea came about. My parents had the beach house down on Oak Island.
Yeah.
The Cape Fear River empties out into the sea right above Oak Island, in between Oak Island and Bald Head Island. And I had always wanted to just, go catfishing for monster flatheads in the Cape Fear.
Sure.
And, what better idea than to drift fish for big flatheads the entire length of the Cape Fear and come out at right there at Oak Island and where the beach house is. And so we had our girls at the time go down, drop us off, and take the trailer.
I mean, before we got there, we had to present this idea to Mike. a different mic.
Oh, he was well. It was the same mic that projectiled the absence.
Yes, and but not the same mic that I went surfing with.
Correct.
It's a different
There's
mic.
a lot of mics involved.
Yeah, and
in
Mike
stories.
will probably come on this podcast and give
Both
his
of them
version
at some point
for sure. But we brought Mike in on this idea because, well, he had the John boat.
It was.
He had a 16-foot John boat with a 50 horsepower Yamaha, and he was game. So then we started planning. So if we get into the planning stage of this, where were we at when we got to Lillington?
Where were we at as far as
our planning?
Because
our planning between me and Jeremy and me and you and Mike, there was a very different set of stuff inside the boat.
So me and Mike, the other Mike, we had been camping, fishing on the Roanoke River during the Striper run.
I went on one of those with you. Yeah, that was fun.
For many years.
Yeah.
We had been camping, hunting in many different locations. So, we were used to just, grabbing some shit and winging it and just, and just go have fun, go rough it and be men, right? Like embrace the suck, whatever. So, we're, wilderness people. We feel like, we
can handle this.
We can make this work. So, in my mind, I'm a fisherman. Like I can catch fish. So in my mind, all I needed was fishing rods, hooks, bait, a frying pan, some cooking oil and some seasoning, salt and pepper, and we're gonna eat catfish the whole way down.
And there you have it, folks. That's all he brought.
That is,
now,
and a bag of Doritos.
So when we put this boat on the water, there's a plethora of guns.
There was a gun.
We had a shotgun.
There was just the shotgun. That's it.
Was it just a shotgun?
Just a shotgun, yeah. Just the I had a Mossberg pistol grip street sweeper pump action.
And we had about 3 or 4 fishing rods.
Right.
We had bait. We had
tackle and stuff.
3 to 4 bottles of liquor.
Couple bottles of liquor, cases of beer. Maybe
we had a couple of cases of beer.
Maybe a gallon of water.
I don't even think so. I don't even think we had that.
I'm sure we had at least a gallon of water.
That would have been smart, but I don't even think we did.
I don't remember it being there, but I'm sure somebody brought a gallon of water.
Now we're up to the plan of we're going to drop in Wilmington.
No,
the girls,
no, not Wilmington, Lillington.
Did I say Wilmington?
Yeah.
Sorry. Lillington. We're going to drop in Lillington, and the girls are going to take the truck and the trailer to the beach.
Yeah, my Suburban.
And wait for us to get there.
With Herndon's trailer. Yeah, and then we're going to call them a couple of days later when we got down. They're going to stay at the beach house for the weekend, laying out
and have
on
a
the
good
beach,
time. Yeah, lay on the beach.
Drinking margaritas, and we'll call them when we get there to come pick us up.
Come scoop us up.
Yeah.
So that's how this begins. And we put that boat in. We've got liquor.
We had a
pirate
flag.
We put up a pirate flag. We had the liquor. We had the beer. We had the fishing rods. We had a boat and an engine, and we had a pirate flag.
Did anybody ever check the weather?
Nope. Nobody checked the weather. We just going down the Cape Fear. We didn't even check to see if there was locks.
I didn't know anything about the Cape Fear. I just assumed it's a river that
we
goes
just
from here
assumed
to there.
It was.
I know it starts here and I know it ends there. Yes. So water flows. So boats float on water.
And mind you, without this trip, Jeremy and I might have never made it because this trip taught me a lot.
Yeah.
So we're still on the first day. Haven't even gotten into the water.
And this was a Friday, right? Or Saturday? Friday?
I believe it was Friday.
Yeah. So, going into the weekend. So.
Yeah, I don't think the water was high because
no, we hit rapids.
We hit rapids. So we get on the water and we are starting our trek down the Cape Fear.
Started off great.
Oh my God! We were listening to the radio,
passing the Jack Daniels.
We were passing. Yeah, we were shotgunning Jack Daniels. We had the pirate flag up. Our poles. Oh my God! Yes. So, and from here. I think from Lillington to Irwin, which is about maybe 30 minutes in a car.
We made it a good, I don't know,
About an
hour
hour and
by
a half.
boat and or so, and the newness of it kind of started to.
Well, we started hearing a noise.
We started hearing a noise just about the time we stopped
like,
with the hooting and hollering. We started hearing something.
We're like, what is that?
Yeah, what is that?
We're like, what's going on?
Is there a storm coming? Like, is that traffic? What?
It's that traffic.
Like, what is that?
We started hearing weird noises, and off in the distance, after about 15 minutes,
nobody said a word. Everybody's kind of calculating in their own mind, processing what's happening, and nobody wanted to say it out loud, but we all kind of came to the same conclusion.
Things started getting quiet. The shotgunning of the liquor started to slow down, and
started getting some nervous looks.
The noises started getting louder. The water started getting crazier.
The boat
we had to slowly start raising the engine because we started bumping on rocks. And as soon as we started bumping on rocks, we knew we were in for something.
We're hitting the rapids.
So,
in a metal boat.
In a 16-foot John boat full of liquor and beer and guns and
a gun
and food. And
not much food. Bait and a bag of Doritos.
yes, we had bait. So
might have been a loaf of bread.
So I think on the first set, the boat hits a rock, gets a hole, and we start taking on water. We're taking on a little. It's not a lot of water. It's the first. We hit a rock. The boat gets a hole in it. Not yet. But we hit a rock, the boat gets a hole in it, and we start taking on water. So now we know this is serious.
I fell back onto the rod.
You fell back onto a rod on the second set of rocks.
Okay.
So now the rapids are getting serious. And the boat actually turned sideways.
Caught sideways, yeah.
And hit a rock so hard it almost flipped.
Yeah.
Mike.
That knocked me back into the rod.
Mike and I jumped to the side so that it wouldn't flip. You fell into the rods and broke two of them.
At least one. One. The one big one, yeah.
But a rod broke, and the boat's about to go over the rock upside down.
Yeah.
And we're yelling at you, going, Eric, get over here. The boat's about to flip. And you were like, oh man, I broke this rod.
Yeah. I was.
You were bummed about the rod.
I was way off balance. I was out of sorts.
Oh,
I was like, what is happening?
Mike grabbed you and said, get over here. And he got you to our side of the boat. I got out of the boat and stood on the rock and actually pushed the back side of the boat around the rock so that we would keep flowing down river and then jump back in.
Yeah.
So now we got two holes in the boat, and we're still going down river.
Not big holes. It's not.
No. They're small holes, but we're taking on water.
Yeah, still manageable, but we were realizing we're in for more than we bargained for at this point.
For sure, yes.
And now we're past the first set of rapids, and you certainly can't go back up the way you came.
Nope. We're in it to win it now.
Yeah, you're pot committed.
Yes. So
and then we get back into calm waters. We reassess the situation. Now we're starting to pay more attention to our surroundings and realizing there's no other boats out there.
Our first night spent was still in the rapids because we slept on the side of a hill we didn't want to be at.
Yeah, we pulled over before the next set of rapids for the night because we were like, that sounded even worse than the previous one.
Yeah, we heard another set of rapids coming.
We need to plan this out, reassess, and figure out what we're going to do. But as soon as we passed that first set of rapids, I was definitely paying attention to our surroundings and realized there's no way out of this. There's no ramps. There's no houses. There's no other boats. There's no people. Can't go back, and now we can't go forward. And this next set of rapids sounds worse than the ones before. So, for all intent and purposes, we're trapped in between two sets of gnarly rapids with no way out on either bank.
Yes, that's correct.
And then we pull over for the night to reassess.
Well, we decided to pull over, and luckily we tied the front of the boat to a tree, and we tied the back of the boat to a tree. And then we stayed on this extremely slanted slope where I think we cooked toast. I think we made some toast out of bread.
Chicken livers, maybe, that weren't any good.
we were on the side of a hill, and we tried to set up a tent where we were all sleeping like literally on top of each other, because the hill was so slanted. It was like Mike, Eric, me, and we were just crunched.
There's nowhere else to go. We're in the woods. It wasn't a campsite.
No. It was the side of a hill.
It wasn't even a clearing.
There was barely enough room for the tent, and we just kind of hunkered down to just get through the night.
And which we did. That first night was fine. We got through that with the help of Jack Daniels. We pretty much drank our way through that night.
But the next morning, the boat was almost completely underwater.
The river had risen. Apparently, because we didn't check the weather, we didn't know that it was raining a big storm upriver, which was now all draining down to us throughout the night. And
I'm not going to stop this video, but I'm running outside.
All right, go.
Keep talking.
So we bail the boat out. We get the water out of the boat. I had lost some gear at this point. I remember we still needed food, so I started fishing. The river is going at this point is really flowing. Like it's going pretty fast. Like you can't keep a weight on the bottom. There's no chance of catching a fish. I couldn't catch bait fish. I was hoping to catch, brim to use for bait to catch catfish. Couldn't do that. I think I caught one little small channel cat that, would have been a good size to turn around and use for bait for a much larger flathead. But yeah, the fishing wasn't happening. Water was flowing too fast. We're starting to realize we need to get out of this situation. We need to get past the next set of rapids. We got to face it. We can't go back the way we came. We hiked up into the woods a little bit from the campsite and couldn't see anything. There wasn't anywhere to go other than keep going. And that's what we did.
Apologies. Where are we at?
So I tried fishing.
We wake up next morning.
I tried fishing, caught one little channel cat. We walked up in the woods a little bit, didn't see anything. I don't think we saw that power plant weird thing yet, right?
No, okay. That was the next night.
The next night, yeah. So we didn't see anything in the woods. We couldn't go back upstream, so we had to just keep going, embrace the suck, and and go for it. Bailed out the boat, and salvage what gear.
And I am glad we're doing this, because some of it I am vague on, but I know we
lost some gear. So that was another reason we wanted to get in the boat and go, because we need to recover some gear that had floated off.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we prep ourselves to head back downriver.
Yeah. Keep going.
Now, we pretty much get through the next set of rapids.
We were better prepared.
We kind of handled it, and we got through it.
We lost the pirate flag. No, the pirate flag we already lost on the first
pirate flag. We lost on the first one, which we didn't talk about. But when we hit that rock and turned sideways, pirate flag was gone.
And that was the omen. That was the omen.
Yes.
Yeah, we thought we were going to pirate the Cape Fear, and the Cape Fear immediately told us.
We were like, okay.
No, you're my bitch.
This is serious. This is going to be a trip.
Yeah,
that happened on the first day, where we were like, shit, we already lost the flag.
Yeah.
So we lost the flag. For day one, holes in the boat, lost the flag, ate on the side of a hill, and slept pretty much spooning each other.
Was it raining that night?
It rained.
It did rain that night.
It did rain that night. It was rough.
Only liquor got us through that night, and any sort of peace of mind.
Yeah. Well,
the next set of rapids, was that where
the next set
lost the motor.
The next set of rapids, we almost lost the motor.
And Herndon was ready to abandon the motor and just come back and recover it on another trip.
Yes.
And we talked him out of that.
Yes. I forgot about that.
Yeah, why was that? Why was he ready to abandon the motor? He didn't
because we weren't going to make it any further unless we got rid of some weight.
Okay.
Like we were literally to the point where we're screwed and stuck here if we don't lose weight.
Okay.
And it was like, throw Eric or the motor over. Which one's going?
I would have volunteered to float down and meet up with you later.
But we said, no, we got this. Let's keep going. We need the motor when we get through this. We're going to get through this. And we were getting closer to Irwin where the rapids do end.
And we thought there would be at least a boat ramp.
Yeah.
Irwin.
So when we got there and we got through those rapids, we're talking halfway through our day 2. We're through the rapids. We're going down the river. We're
making progress.
We're making progress. We're reassessing ourselves, and we hit the first lock.
And then, we're spirits are up. You know, we're making way. You know, water's calm, bright sunny day. You know, we're into the next bottle of liquor. You know, we're eating the bag of Doritos.
Yeah, the only food we brought.
And then we hit the lock.
We hit the first of 3 locks on the Cape Fear River
that we never did our research to realize, or even if we did, we didn't know. I don't remember if
we pulled them over. We didn't know. We did not know about them, but
we didn't know we couldn't get past them.
And maybe I should take over this part of the story, but we pulled to the side.
Well, I remember. Hold on, I do remember. Once we hit that lock and dam, and then we came back up river.
That was after.
Okay,
this is after this.
You go ahead. Then.
This is after this,
right.
Because now, what you're talking about is we knew we were screwed. We knew we couldn't make it.
Yeah.
So we get to the lock, and we're still thinking we can get down this river. So we pull off to the side, and it's kind of like a park, kind of in the Fayetteville area.
A park.
Well, there was people up on the side.
Oh, absolutely not. No, there was no people.
There was people.
We never saw a person.
There was a drive. There was like an area where people could get to when we got to that first lock, and we were pulled over to the side.
But there was a drive that came to the
lock. I think
but there was
before we got to that lock, we spent a good full day going downriver and seeing nothing.
Yeah.
But when we got to that lock, that was like an area where people could
get to. Yeah, of course, because you can get.
There was like a parking lot and
for the lock itself.
For the lock, yeah.
Right, but they only managed it Monday through Friday and not
not on the weekend.
Sunday when we were.
But we pulled over and tried to figure out how we can get our boat over that waterfall and onto the next track of river.
Or adjust.
I'm getting there. Let me get there.
All right.
I'll get there. But we were thinking, okay, Mike needed time to bail the water out of the boat because we're still taking on water from the holes.
Yeah, he had to do
so
some
we
work.
pulled over. We're kind of close to the lock. We pulled over, and we were like, well, what do we do? Do we let the boat go over the water?
I don't think it could. There was a
we were considering options, and there was an option of letting the boat go over the waterfall and us getting it on the other side.
I don't think that was a possibility.
Well, we talked about it. We didn't do it obviously because it wasn't going to work, and then we talked about carrying it,
or we had to raise the lock. I don't think there was a possibility of going over it. There was some block. I can't.
Well, it would have been a pain in the ass.
I don't think it was a way for the boat to have gone over that lock the way it was set up. There was either a fence or there was a concrete wall or something.
The boat could have went over.
Okay.
But we had no way to retrieve it.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Okay.
Because we couldn't go over with it.
Okay.
And if we let it go, how do we get it back?
Okay.
Because there was the area where you go in and they raise the water and then they put you in and then you go to the next part of the lock. There was that area.
Yeah.
So we were kind of parked in front of that area trying to figure out how the hell we're going to get to the other side of this dam. And we were like, well, do we carry it? And we just realized that a 16-foot John boat with a 50 horsepower engine,
Yeah.
we're not getting this thing the 300 feet down.
Yeah.
We can't carry
on
it.
uneven ground. Even if we took the motor off, it just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't like a pathway to.
So, needless to say, we're getting frustrated. We got to keep going down this river, and we don't know how we're going to do it.
Well, there's no other options. We couldn't go back.
So Eric says, there must be a manual override on this lock.
I saw a wheel thing you could turn.
Well, you insisted that there must be a manual override on a federally protected lock. Yeah, I get it. Why not? So there was a big fence. There was a big fence protecting you from going over to where this wheel that you could turn was. And Mike's busy bailing out the boat. He's in there with a sub pump, keeping us from sinking. Eric gets out of the boat, walks over to the lock, and starts scaling the fence. So now you are crossing the fence and going over the water.
I had to go sideways.
Well, you had to go
fence.
sideways over to the lock area.
Yeah, to get past the water part, and then another concrete.
And then there was a concrete pillar that came out,
and then you had
to go around that.
Yeah. So
well, as you're going around that, I'm leaning down into the boat, going, Mike, you got to see this. And he's like, what? And I said, Eric's trying to scale the fence and find a manual over.
He said, "Is it Grizz?"
No.
Yeah,
he got there. I'm getting there. So I said, you got to see this. He said, what is it? I said, Eric's trying to scale the fence and get into here and manually override the lock. And he's like, what? And I said, Eric's scale. He goes, is it Grizz? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, I've seen it before.
Oh, so I'm on this fence, and all I got to do is just keep going sideways to get, it's like 10 feet, and then I can get around this end, and then I'm home free to get on the concrete platform to get to the wheel.
To what we think is a wheel to release.
It was our only option. We were desperate for options at this point. So, but I'm holding on, and all of a sudden it starts creaking and starts shifting towards me. The whole section of fence comes down on top of me as I'm falling backwards down into
middle of the day. The
part of the water where all the trash is collected in the still part that doesn't make it through the flow.
We were in the collection area.
Yeah, the side part, the eddy part where just all the trash and scum, and just nasty shit.
You were half
dead
in it.
Fish floating upside down, and I'm just up to my waist in this toxic sludge. And I'm hanging on.
Well, that's because the fence fell over. He's up to his waist because the fence he was on fell over,
10-foot
and he was
fence
hanging
on top
over
of me.
the water.
And now the only thing keeping me out of
was you.
Halfway out was me holding on by my fingertips.
And that's when I said you need to see Eric right now. I said, Mike, you need to see this. And he goes,
Is it Grizz?
I've seen it. I've seen it before. And I lost it because he didn't even look out. He was still sump pumping the boat. And you trying to get into a protected area to release a lock manually. Mike said he's seen it before.
I never went in the water, though. I never let go.
No, you didn't let go. Your hands were all messed up.
That's grips of steel. That's a steel iron.
Oh,
grip
and not
right
to
there,
mention
right?
on the
you
first.
Give me credit for that iron grip.
Yeah, that was impressive.
To freaking crab claw my way to the side.
But what we forgot to mention is on day one, when we went to get out of the boat, you hit the mud and fell. You hit the mud and you slipped. Yeah. It's not a big deal right now, but after the fourth time it happened, it became a thing.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that, but every time we had to pull over to get out of the boat, you would hit the mud and fall.
I'm sure I did. I'm sure that was the least of my concerns.
So, needless to say, after this horrible endeavor of not being able to go any further, we decided
we had to
reassess our situation.
Now we're in a situation where we need food. We're down to survival mode. We're
hungry.
Yeah, we're at the point of, okay, we're in survival mode, and we need to literally take care of start checking off the basic needs, for survival. Food, water, find some way to get out of where we are, and we started exploring banks.
Well, we decided to go back upriver because that's all we could do.
Right. And I saw a field. I said, let's go. I think there's probably cows up there. Let me go see if I can.
This is when we were running out of gas.
We ran out of the gas, but I think we were looking for the food first, for the cow. Didn't I go after the cow first?
Well, I think we ran out of gas and then we found a cow.
Okay, so either way, whichever goes first doesn't matter. We can do. You want to do the gas first? So we're running out of gas. We got to go find a house.
We have to reassess what's happening. So I think that's the first time we pulled over to the side, and that's when we said we were hungry.
Okay.
And then we saw a cow.
Yeah. And
so the first time we pulled over, we were running low on gas, and we said we need to figure out what we're going to do to sleep and eat.
Right.
And you said, pull over here. There's a cow up on the top of the hill.
We had to reassess anyway. And while y'all were at the boat deciding what to do, I took a knife and
said, we're eating steaks tonight.
Yeah. And I went out because there was a little cow, like a calf, that was, looking, peeking over the hill, and there was no fence. And I was like, I can just go. We don't want to shoot it and make the noise, and draw attention. So
sure.
If I can just get to that calf, I can just, slit its throat and we'll slice it up and have steaks, right? You can eat that calf
sure.
for several days.
That's exactly what you were thinking.
Sound like a great idea. So I take the knife.
When you left, I said to Mike, is Eric really going to go kill that cow?
Oh, 100%. If I could have got my hands on it, we were going to eat steaks. And so I creep up the hill.
Well, I said, before you get there, I said to Mike, is Eric really going to go fucking kill that cow? And he said, he'll never get that cow.
I'm creeping up the hill.
But you are creeping up the hill.
And the calf sees me a mile away, obviously. It turns and, not even running, just turns and kind of, trots off. And I'm like, I'll catch up to him. I'll he's probably somewhat tame a little bit, pretend like I'm feeding him. I'll figure it out, right? So I come over the hill, and by the time I get over the hill, there's now no trees around. It's just complete pasture, and the calf isn't that far away from me now. It's like, I don't know, 30 yards, let's say, 20, 30 yards, standing behind a bull.
Which we can't see down at the river.
And that bull is now looking at me, puts its head down, and starts pawing at the ground. And I'm like, I look over to my left and my right, and there ain't a tree to fucking hide behind. It was only option I had was to get back to the water before that bull could get to me. And if it charged, I didn't have a chance. Like, I wasn't gonna outrun it.
Yeah. And this is where I saw you come running over the hill saying, get back in the boat, get back in the boat.
Yeah. I didn't even, as soon as I started moving, so the bull started taking a couple steps. I never looked back. I just ran for it. I said, I'm going to make it or I don't. But yeah, fortunately, the bull did not chase me, and I got back to the boat. We never got the calf.
No, we never got any steaks.
Then we had to go find gas.
And then we ran out of gas. And this is when we came to our next stop, where we went exploring. We really didn't see anything from the shoreline because it was still just nothing but woods. But we came out and we found a fence. I think we found a fence first, and we started following the fence.
I think it was still around where that pasture was. We're like, well, somebody's got to own this pasture. There's got to be a house somewhere close because everything else was just woods.
Yeah. Yeah, that might have been it. But, as far as I can remember, we followed the fence up.
Yeah.
And we got to a house that...
It was an old wooden white house.
Yeah, it was an old farmhouse with state-of-the-art security.
So the house was like run down. Like it was, it wasn't like a nice big ranch with, Angus cows house. This was like a redneck old,
dilapidated
house that needed a lot of paint,
like
and
the
repair,
porch was crooked and settled.
Yeah, shingles, falling off. Like it needed a lot of work,
which we came up to from its backyard.
Yeah. And then we walk around the side of it and get to the front porch and knock on the door, and it's like, well, we'll just
we're going to ask for some gas.
We'll pay for gas.
We'll pay for it.
While we're waiting for somebody to come to the door, I turn around and notice this high tech, super small. So this was back in the mid,
early 2000s,
the early mid 2000s, early mid 2000s. And it was the tiny little pinhole.
It moved. And looking at us,
several of them, not just like one or two. Like there was a bunch of them up in the trim work, like well hidden and really small, tiny, like high dollar shit that you don't expect to see on a rundown house in the middle of the country. And it's like, okay, that's odd. And then
that's a red flag.
That's a red flag. And then when the old lady opens comes to the door, doesn't open it, but is super cautious about, very, very skeptical, very, very, who are you? Not your friendly country neighbor willing to, lend a hand.
No, very skittish, skittish.
Yeah. Like scared. We can go ahead and say she was scared, and she was fear-based, and
as were we.
Well, now we're quickly getting there, but we were desperate. We explained our case. There was
just
a lot
said
of
we
doubt.
need some gas.
She finally, I think, ended up believing us and just told us where the gas was. Never did open the door. Just said where the gas was. Did she even accept the money?
I don't think so. She just said there's some gas around on the back by the barn. You can have it.
Yeah, and wouldn't even open the door to take the money. Like that's how, cautious.
So we definitely stumbled upon either a meth house. A meth house
was my thought.
Yeah, a meth house or some kind of opium den.
Well, so back then, my guess was it was a meth house, right? But
I guess.
But now, like. I hate to say
very,
this.
very sketchy.
I'm wondering now if it was some sort of human trafficking.
That's also possible.
Thing, which I didn't even,
because we were in the middle of nowhere.
That wasn't even on my radar back then. But the more I'm seeing in politics, in the news, and
it's
in
a
the
very,
reality,
very real thing.
Yeah, I'm realizing that's a lot more. There's a lot more of that going on than I ever would have believed. And I'm wondering if it could have been something like that, or whatever. There was something sketchy as fuck about that house.
But we got the gas.
We did get the gas, and we got the fuck out of there.
We got out of there. We fired up the boat, and we continued upstream because
you couldn't go down stream.
We couldn't go down, and by this point, we knew the girls were going to come get us the next day. So we had one more night.
Whoa. One thing we forgot to mention about this whole trip, we never had service. We never had cell service, right?
No, you don't have good cell service on the Cape.
There's
nothing out there.
We never were able to communicate with anybody this entire time.
No, but when we found, after getting the gas, and we knew we had to find a place to settle down for the night, and we knew we were probably going to head back to Fayetteville.
Was this
because
night 2?
this was night 2.
Okay. So
Because
this
we
is,
got picked up on the 3rd day.
Yeah,
Because
so-
we only did the weekend.
so
because
night 2 is when we ran into that
yes.
structure.
So this was midday. We got the gas, and we went looking for a place to settle down
Yes,
because
a
we wanted
flat-
to take what fishing rods we had left, do a little bit of fishing,
Right.
and then have the girls come pick us
We
up.
had to catch food, or else we just weren't eating.
Yeah, exactly. So we found a spot where we could hold up.
Yeah.
And there was sand
Yeah,
everywhere.
nice little flat area.
Nice little flat area. And we kind of picked a high point, and that's where we set up the tent.
Yeah.
So this was midday, and we got some firewood, and we were like, well, we're not going down the Cape Fear. This is it.
Yeah.
Let's drink the rest of our liquor.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we
me
kind of
and-
had a resurgence of, all
Yeah.
right, we're doing all right. We're
So,
making the best of it, at least.
we started just chugging out of the bottle, and we went for a walk.
Captain Morgan's.
It was, you had Captain Morgan's, I
Or
had
Sailor
Jack
Jerry
Daniels.
or something. I think we drank the Jack Daniels that first night.
Whatever it was,
Yeah.
we each had a bottle.
Yeah.
And we just went for a walk, and we saw a big green snake,
Yeah.
and then we walked upon a factory
Some
in the
sort
middle,
of
some
weird-ass
sort of
factory.
weird factory.
In the middle of the
that had
woods.
this-
That was high tech, like a modern looking facility
It
with
was
this barbed wire super.
it was weird.
Yeah.
And it was very weird for us knowing that we were in the middle of nowhere, walking up on a barbed wired fence.
Especially after just running into that situation with the house with the security, high tech
Yes.
security system.
Yes. And I found that weird clay. It was like a mold of some kind of, I still have it.
I don't remember
And
that.
it was
What was that?
it was like something we found on the ground, but it was like this mold that looked almost like a statue. But we were like, what is this?
Yeah.
Where does this come from? And I freaking kept it.
Okay.
It might be in that thing or up there.
All right.
And I'll look for it later. We'll look for it later.
All right.
But I was like, what is this? Why would this be out here? And we just kept walking around, and needless to say, we drank those bottles.
Yeah.
And we got hammered. And when we got back to the campsite, Mike was probably 50% sober than we were, because
Yeah.
he didn't go on the walk.
Yeah.
And, he's probably still making sure his boat didn't sink.
Yeah.
And we set up the tent.
Probably in full.
That was the first night we set up the big tent.
Yeah,
Mike had
yeah.
a 6-man tent.
Yeah.
And we set that up. And so we're sitting around the fire. We're trying to fish, and we ain't eating shit.
No.
I mean, we just have nothing to eat.
Yeah.
So we're
Just
still
chicken
just
livers.
drinking. And I mean, it was probably a 3-hour walk we went on. So when we got back, I think you almost fell into the fire twice.
I'm sure.
And we finally get into the tent.
Never caught any fish, by the
Never
way.
caught any fish. And when we get into the tent, I was in the corner. I had my sleeping bag. And I remember, Mike was in the middle, and he had his sleeping bag. And then you were next to Mike, and you had nothing.
That was a weird tent. It had like a double layer
Well,
of zippers.
we're getting there.
Like
We're
it had
getting
screens
there.
and
But you didn't
doors.
have anything to sleep with. So you started sharing Mike's sleeping bag and like pulling it over to you and going, just a little bit. I just want a little bit. And Mike's starting to get, a little peeved.
Getting irritated.
He's starting to get irritated. He's trying to sleep. We're both hammered drunk.
He's realized he made a big mistake coming with us on this trip.
So before we went into the tent, I purposely, knowing how drunk we were, I went over like 30 feet from the tent, and I purposely, fingered down the throat and hurled.
Yeah.
I made myself throw up because I knew it was coming.
Purged.
I purged.
Yeah.
Thank you. I purged because I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
We drank bottles
Yeah.
of liquor
Had to
on
be
a walk.
done. It was going to happen. Might as well do it on your own terms.
Eric said he was okay.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it.
I'm good.
So now he's trying to share the sleeping bag with Mike. And And yes, yes. Whoop. And Mike's like, get out of here. Don't you puke in this tent. Starts getting really mad. So Eric runs to what he thinks it's the door. And he goes to unzipper it. And he unzippers it and he sticks his face out. And it's a window. He throws up into a screen.
No, I held it longer than that. I kept fucking with it. Nobody got up to help me. And I couldn't get through all the layers of zippers and shit. Y'all are just sitting there fucking yelling directions at me like that's going to do any good to a guy.
Like we can do you any good. How are we going to help?
Herndon
Mike could have helped you.
Up and unzip the right zipper instead of just yelling at me to... directions that I'm doing all I can to hold the puke in my cheeks at this point.
So that happened. And, the next morning, everything's clean. We clean up and we get a hold of the girls and they're going to pick us up at around, I think it was like 3 or 4 o'clock up at the Fayetteville Marina. It might not have been Fayetteville, but it was up close to Irwin or something like that.
We were in some random ass.
We were in some random small town.
Podunk.
And we got our gas. It was needless to say, it was a long night. And we get back in the boat and we take it upriver and we get to this dock that the girls are going to meet us at.
It wasn't a dock. It was literally just a boat launch.
Well, yeah, a small launch.
Yeah, and we walk up to... we
were hungry.
Right. We walk up.
It was a Sunday.
We found a railroad tracks, and there was a.
What did we find before that?
A couple rednecks, and asked this redneck kid, where we can go find. Where can we get something to eat?
Where can we get something to eat?
And he starts giving us directions, like, well, you could go to. To so-and-so down this way.
You can take this way down here, man, and then you can make a left. And then you go up this street here, and then you make a right. And then you end up at this Chinese restaurant. For about 15 minutes, this kid is trying to explain this route.
Yeah.
And Eric even leans back and says, does he want us to invite him?
Yeah.
Does he want to go with us? Because it was an awkward long amount of time. And then
I'm looking like right across the railroad tracks.
Mike actually saw it.
About that place?
Mike actually saw it because we were standing there listening to him, and he goes, "You can take the railroad tracks." And then he goes, "Well, no, you can go up the street, and you can make a left there." And then after about 30 minutes of listening to this guy giving directions, Mike goes, "Is that it right there?" And he points to this sign that you can see. It's like 200 yards away.
If that, not even. It was just right across the railroad tracks.
Is that it right there?
Behind the trees. You just didn't have you had to cross the railroad tracks instead of go up the road, and it was right there.
That kid was like, "Well, yeah, man, that's it right there." And he was like, "God damn it." And he just like walked through us and started walking towards the place.
So then we go in the front door and it's Sunday.
We've spent 3 days falling through the mud.
Oh, we're dirty, nasty, smelly, stinky.
Yes.
We look like death warmed over.
Yes.
And it's church Sunday.
Yes.
And everybody's in there midday after church service in their Sunday best. And we walk in the front door and the girl...
Table for 3, please.
Well, before that...
She says, to go, right?
To go, right? Eyes wide, like, this is to go, right? Like, kind of like jaw drop, like staring at us.
What are you guys doing in here?
Like, we need some food. Like, to go, right? Like, no.
They put us in a VIP area.
She had to go and talk to management. And she's like, I'll be back. The restaurant's half empty, plenty of tables. But she had to go talk to whoever, comes back and said, okay, and kind of shuffled us into the VIP area just so that we weren't around the rest of the customers. So we're in like the banquet room,
I ate.
by ourselves.
I hate egg rolls, and I must have ate like 3 of them because
Oh
I was
God.
like, this food is so delicious.
Oh, it was the worst food. That was the worst Chinese food ever, but it was so good at that minute, at
Oh
that
yeah.
moment.
Well, after 2.5 days of not knowing what food looked like,
Oh.
it was
We had
a
so many
warm
different
welcome.
dishes, and I kept going from dish to dish, thinking something here has to be good. And even as hungry as I was, everything just tasted like cardboard.
Well, we had to sit there and wait to get picked up, and the girls picked us up on their way home
Oh,
from the beach. They had a
God,
nice visit to the beach.
God bless them, but you know, I can't imagine how we smelled in that car ride home. And they're telling us how great of a time they had on the beach with their
Yeah.
suntans and margaritas. And oh, God, what a nightmare disaster that was. What in the devil possessed you to try that again?
Well, that's a story for me and Jeremy.
Yeah.
But what possessed me to do it again was I did not like getting beat, and I think honestly, I
Oh,
think
admit
we would have
defeat.
I think we would have made it if we got through the locks.
I admit defeat on that one, man. I know when I've been bested.
Well, Jeremy and I, we had, it was. I don't want to dive into it because that will get dived into, but we did. We made it. We made it. It was 4 days.
I do, however, want to give a shout out to Jeremy, and not, can we acknowledge what he's doing, what he's doing?
Well,
I mean, he posts about it, right? So,
he's been fighting for Ukraine for quite some time now.
He came over. I had a Super Bowl party, and invited some friends over, and invited him. He came over, to my parents' house for the Super Bowl. I don't even remember what teams it was. And I had my friends, some of my friends over, the Barbers, John and I think his buddy. I don't think you weren't there.
Well, I met Barber.
Yeah, but you weren't there.
No, I wasn't there
for this.
Night.
And I remember Jeremy. He knew Dad and he knew me, and I just remember him sitting, off on the couch while we're watching the game and cheering for the game. And I just remember he had this really strange look in his eye. Like he wasn't really paying much attention to the Super Bowl. He was watching us with just this look of just like a, it's hard to explain.
I'm going to soak this in.
Like a satisfaction or like a I don't even know what word describes it. It was I had never really seen a look like that before, and somebody like almost like a shepherd looking over their flock or something. And then it wasn't long after that I found out that he had gone overseas. And
I have to say that I've never felt more at home, like on an adventure like that with somebody who sees it the way I do. Like, when we stayed in the places we slept, because the conditions were much harder for Jeremy and I than it was for us. And I saw somebody who sees it the way I do.
Yeah.
Which is that survival feeling is kind of ingrained in some people.
He's a protector. He's a, what I saw was, he's the shepherd,
I gotcha.
To protect people. And
for sure,
and he went off, and I, in hindsight, he already had planned to go, and that was the look I saw in his eye. I just didn't know it at that time. I didn't recognize that look at that time.
Some people are lost until they
found
find
out he left and went there.
Place.
I was like, that's what I saw in his eye. He was already checked out. He was already planning that trip, and he was on his way.
Yeah.
And he just went over there, took his gear, went to war, nobody paying him, just met up with militia groups and just, dedicated his talents and service to, and go fight for people that needed to be fought for. And he's still there today.
For sure. Shout out to you, buddy.
Yeah,
Jeremy,
man, that's
good for you.
You are the man.
Dresden
you are
was
the man.
Dresden was well taken care of in your absence. Somebody who I didn't think had the fortitude to take care of somebody or something like he did, I was very impressed with, because I didn't see my brother having that type of responsibility built into him, where he took in something of yours and treated it like it was his and gave him a good life. So I'm glad you got to do what you had to do, and what you had that you left behind also got treated well. And I want you to know that.
And I hope you find peace of mind and, and find your soul and soulmate. And
well, I think he found his soulmate.
I'm hoping so. Yeah, he found.
I'm hoping so.
Sounds like he found a girl there and and stayed for her. And I don't even know if he's still fighting or if he's just there because he got injured. He got injured in combat.
Yep.
And and stayed there because of the girl, from what I understand.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. I guess all we can say there is thanks for your service, and
you're a real American hero. You're a world hero.
Hope to see you again. Hope to see you down to Mike's so that we can go over our experience on the Cape Fear.
Come back soon and healthy, and bring your girl, and let's see you here on the home turf.
I guess according to the stories he has now, the Cape Fear is probably nothing. But,
right.
But
can't wait to hear those stories.
Man, oh man. Yeah, me neither. Or me as well.
Or maybe I don't want to hear them. There may be some brutal shit that that he doesn't even need one. It doesn't need to be repeated. It just business had to be.
Well, I think in that case, sometimes it does need to be repeated.
I think people need to hear it.
I think people need to hear it, and I think it needs to be off your chest.
What's going on in the world, and what it takes to face the evils in the world, and the brave men and women that are out there doing it,
for sure,
and volunteering to do it.
Yeah,
and I mean that's just another breed that everybody should be aware of. I think there's a lot of nonsense in today's age, and
that's
today's
true.
News, and a lot of just bickering and bitching and moaning and complaining and just from people that have no fucking clue what real
true sacrifice,
what real problems are. They think they have problems, or think there's problems, or think they're standing up for something or fighting for something, and or this side's evil or that side's evil, or there's Democrats or Republicans or this side, and they have no fucking clue what it's a privilege to be able to bicker about the things you have that privilege to bicker about, and sometimes I think people need a wake up call.
100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. Yes. I think I don't know how else to put it besides the fact that I think America has sheltered people so well. They've sheltered people so well that they feel like they can stand up and say these ridiculous things and be okay because you live in a country that allows you to do that.
Yeah.
And you don't understand why, or you never took the time. You don't appreciate how you got there.
To even say the nonsense you say and complain about the nonsense you complain about and bitch about the nonsense you bitch about. You don't even understand how precious it is for you to be in a time and place.
I think you summed it up perfectly to the point why I don't talk about it. Yeah. And that's why I don't talk about it on this podcast, because you're completely right. nobody understands the sacrifices that were made so that you could be the little bitch that you are.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't want to spread that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
and
just
talk
want to
about
shout
it
out
because
to Jeremy. I want that recognition.
well, we'll definitely shout out to
we can leave it
Jeremy.
at that.
Brother, I hope you're doing well, and I hope to see you again. And I hope you're watching these, you know, because I'm pretty sure your name's going to pop up a lot in most of them. But you know, we all wish you the best. And as from what my brother says, you're eating well. So, you know, he said the food's unbelievable over there.
Oh, your brother's over there now.
No, he's not over there now, but he went to visit.
Oh,
he
okay,
spent a few weeks with Jeremy.
Okay.
Went over there, and he said the food, you know, you could have a $6 plate of food that's a $100 plate of food here.
Nice.
He said it was unbelievable. Everything was so good.
Yeah.
And my brother's a pretty picky eater. So I was like, wow, you know, and I was like, and it makes sense. It makes sense that they got regulations that we don't have that
Dude,
or regulations we should have.
That we should have. There, I hope RFK Jr. Is really, you know, doing and making the changes that he supposedly is doing and has claimed that he wants to do. A lot of the foods that and additives and shit that we sell to ourselves in this country are outlawed.
Yeah, in every other country.
Including China.
Yeah.
You know, like.
But let's go to this before we even drop on RFK or any politics, because that's also something I don't like to dive into.
All right, fair enough.
We're talking about Grizz. We've gotten through our Cape Fear trip, which is wonderful. What I want to dive into now to kind of sum this up is Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Because that kind of came after we knew each other.
Man, there's a lot to Costa Rica. And
there's
Russia,
a lot to it, and we don't have to dive
Egypt
into Russia and Egypt. Did you say?
Yeah, I was in. I went to Egypt for a week for spring break. For my spring break from when I was in Russia for 6 months for for my second master's degree. I got my MBA at UNCW, and then went to Russia, to Moscow for 6 months to get a master's of science in international business with a focus on transitional emerging markets and transitional economies. And yeah, man, I got a lot of stories from there. And when I came back from there, I tried to get a job in the Research Triangle Park, you know, thinking I got 4 business degrees now, 2 undergrad, business management and finance. I got an MBA from UNCW. I got a master's degree, master's in science and international business from Russia. And I thought it'd be easy for me to get a job, you know, in business and Research Triangle Park, and I couldn't even get an interview.
Wow.
And there's a whole story behind all that, and how I finally, you know, after spending an entire, you know, over half a year, you know, applying to open, you know, job, you know, posts that, you know, were supposedly available. I could, and without even getting a single, you know, return, you know, callback, or, you know, without getting a response of any sort at all, like a fuck off or, you know, nothing. And then finally, I cashed in my chips and went and to go buy a bar and on the beach in Costa Rica. And
wow.
Yeah, and ended up set it up as a lease with an exclusive option to purchase. And with all my lease payments coming off the purchase price, and I had a 2-year exclusive option to purchase at a locked-in price. And I went down there and ran that bar restaurant on the beach in Pavones at the longest left break in the world. Learned to surf down there. First time I ever surfed. I brought a picture of me on a surfboard as proof. My big ass surfing in Costa Rica on the longest left break in the world. And
nice.
Man, I got in a machete fight
You got in a
I got
machete
a
fight.
full on clashing machetes in the street with my neighbor machete fight. Um, yeah, dude, there's so many stories from Costa Rica. Like we can't just
Yeah, we'd have
do
to
that.
dive into
That's a
those on
whole
a
nother
separate time.
episode. Yeah, Russia and Costa Rica. That's a whole nother episode.
Well, I think then we should save those for another episode.
Yeah. I mean, I can throw out a few tidbits, a few little morsels, but that's the whole.
Well,
that's a whole nother.
Let's toss out some titles.
Sure.
Let's toss out some. So we got machete fight in the street.
Yeah.
And then and a lot of the stories have been passed over, and I want to say that because if a Patreon does come on this channel,
yeah,
we're going to go over these stories in full detail. Mm-hmm. So this is something that will happen in the future, and we will give full disclosure on some wild times that Eric has had, or anybody else I have on here has had, that just isn't going, that's kind of going on what would you call it? Like a pay-per-view.
The town, Pavones had one little, tiny police hut, and, there would be rotational 2 police officers at a time. And they had one little dirt bike, and, there was it's a vacation town, like nothing happens, right? And then all of a sudden something did happen. The Coca-Cola delivery truck that comes and delivers beverages to my restaurant and to all the other restaurants, well, it got hijacked and robbed.
Wow.
And shots went off, and the police turned their lights off, locked their door, shuttered their windows, and wouldn't answer knockings on the door. And then the next day, they couldn't hide forever. The next day, once they were finally confronted, they said, "Hey, what the fuck, man? We needed you." They said, "Well, we heard the shots, but," they said, "we're 2 cops. We got 1 gun and no bullets."
Wow.
And they rode butts to nuts on a dirt bike, and the guy on the back had like this bolt action, like World War I style, bolt
that
action
was the police
rifle.
force,
and it had no bullets. It was just for show. They did have a sidearm pistol. They claimed they didn't even have ammunition for that. That basically they explained to us that getting the gig in Pavones was basically just a vacation for them. So like they would rotate through, like the police would in different municipalities.
They would just come there for R&R.
Yeah, they all wanted to come and do their weekend or week or whatever in Pavones, because that was their vacation. It was a little tourist town that nothing ever happens. And anyway, there was a lot that went down in that town. My bartender, I got struck by lightning.
Really?
I literally got struck by lightning. I was standing right off from my bar. My restaurant, La Manta, was like a tiki bar structure, and I'm standing right off the concrete, main structure. My bartender, my manager, my kitchen staff, and my wait staff, it was like 6 of them, were standing right there, and I'm standing in the parking lot a couple feet from the the 2 steps up that goes to the flat platform where the lower level of the restaurant was.
Yeah.
And I'm giving them a little pep talk before we're about to open, and we had a little one of those little storms,
pop-up storms. The hot water
storms that blow through. Well, while I'm sitting here talking, I'm looking behind my bartender at the outlet on the wall, and it starts to like glow blue, like this blue white glow that starts expanding, and I'm looking at it expanding, and then all of a sudden there's just this pop, like this just loud boom, and all of them duck down and then are in different positions, like halfway ducking and like frozen. And I'm like looking at them all like frozen, like choreographed. And I'm looking at it like, you know, how are they all choreographed like at the same time, frozen in that position? You know, and like time had slowed down for me,
Yeah.
and it was right after that I saw the expansion of the glowing blue light from the, you know, from the outlet, and then boom, everything came back to normal, and they're all wide-eyed staring at me like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, and I could barely hear. There was like ringing in my ears. It was really loud because the lightning it struck right behind. Didn't strike connect my head, but it struck like 10 feet behind me.
Yeah.
And they saw it hit the ground 10 feet behind me, and a zigzag line of lightning
Yeah.
that connected from, you know, from the strike to me, to my foot.
Jeez.
And um I didn't feel that, like it didn't, nothing hurt, nothing burned, but I remember clear as day. Time slowed, it slowed time down for me.
The adrenaline rush.
I don't
It
think it
must.
was that, man. Like, I think it was like the energy. It warped time, space time. It's like a, you know, if you
Yeah.
look at Einstein's equations
No.
on
Yeah.
space time.
Yeah.
I think it slowed down time for me, like general relativity, whatever. I think, you know, because it was very. I mean, it was like several seconds of like, you know, like I don't think I was moving either, but I just remember like for several seconds, I'm like, you know, thinking like, you know, processing like, why is everybody just frozen in these different positions? And
That's wild.
yeah, like it was like
That's
time had
wild.
frozen. You know, like I was experiencing time different than they were for several seconds, like 5, 6, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 or 5
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah. For sure. That's
Yeah, it
wild.
was crazy.
My God.
Yeah.
Well, then I think Costa Rica should be its own episode.
Yeah, the bull shark fight.
Did you say bull shark fight?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's just
The
keep
bull
going
shark-
over the
the bull
titles,
shark
or are
fight-
we going to get into these?
Well, the bull shark fight was North Carolina with another Mike, Mike Jones. So, you know, he'll come and do the podcast. He doesn't care. But he was my dive partner on when I fought the. That's why I got this tattoo.
Yeah,
Of the
yeah,
bull
oh,
shark
yeah.
coming through a dive flag, biting on a nitrox tank, because I was diving on nitrox, 20 miles off of Wilmington at the Hyde, the wreck called the Hyde. It's 60,
That's wild.
60 feet underwater.
I've never done anything like that.
And we're spearfishing. So we enter the back of the wreck. We anchor my boat. It was the sailfish. We anchor it off on the front of the boat is 60 foot, and the back, the front of the wreck is 60 foot, and the back of the wreck is 90 foot. And it's a penetration, a swim through from the back. So we're anchored on the front. My boat is, you know, from the anchor line is, you know, towards the back. So we dive straight down, and then we enter the Hyde. The wreck was called the Hyde. The ship was called the Hyde. That was the wreck. We enter from the back, and I've got my spear gun, and I'm shooting spadefish. There was these, you know, look like angelfish. You know, if you know what an angelfish is, or a sheep's head.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So spadefish is looks very similar to those. They're pretty big. You know, like that.
Keep on that. Don't stop having. There you
So
go.
so I shot like, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them as I'm going through the wreck. Mike Jones was my dive partner. I'm pretty sure Herndon Mike was on the boat.
Throwing all kinds of names
Yeah,
out
because
there.
it was, there was 2 mics. It was, yeah, there's so many mics, right? So it was Mike and Mike. You know?
Yeah.
And so I was with Mike Jones for sure on you know, on underwater, while Mike Herndon was on the boat. You know, we always keep somebody on the boat. We're swimming through. I'm shooting my fish. I've got them in my you know, catch bag that's attached to my weight belt. We get through to the front of the wreck, and we're on the front, you know, platform where the anchor line's tied off to, and then the bow of the ship had a porthole and a door. And we, you know, I'd already
The bow of the wreck.
the bow of the wreck, yeah. And so I had already filled up. I just shot all the fish I was gonna shoot, and
Do you realize just spearfishing fish in a shipwreck, scuba diving,
I do it all the time.
is
Like,
badass on its own. Like just doing that once in a lifetime.
I don't go scuba diving without a
You're talking
anymore.
about this like it's an everyday event.
Yeah, because
That's unreal.
I did it like once or twice a month for years.
That'd be a bucket list item for me, just to do once.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't even, I started scuba diving. I got certified. I'm a master certified scuba diver now. I got my open water certification when I was 15 years old.
That's just wild.
I got advanced certification sometime in my 20s. And just like, I don't know, 10 years ago, I think I finally got my master's. I'm not a dive master. I'm a master. How does this go? I'm a master diver. I'm not a dive master.
I got
and there
you.
is a difference. The difference is I can't certify you.
Yeah, I get you.
I'm just
I
master.
Yeah.
I got master certification, which basically all that means is I can do any dive. I'm certified for any kind of diving scenario.
Yeah.
But I can't actually certify you. I can't teach. Anyway, so but yeah, I mean, I don't go dive. For me, it's not even fun to dive anymore unless I'm spearfishing. Like, that's because I love to fish. So I like to go, find a wreck, go dive it, shoot some fish, come back up during my surface interval. Now I'm fishing. I got to wait an hour or so, and I've seen what's down there. I've seen the fish, so now I'm trying to catch them on, rod and reel.
Yeah.
And then after my surface interval, I'll go back down and try to shoot some more, maybe at a different locations, close by, and then same routine. Anyway, so I've got my bag of mesh bag of spadefish that I've shot, and I'm sitting there waiting. Mike's got his head in the front porthole, and I'm just sitting there chilling. Basically I got a chum bag attached to my fucking waist.
Yeah,
in hindsight. Now I see this shark, and I've dove with sharks many times. They come up, they get curious sometimes, you push them off, well, this shark's coming in as big as fuck. First of all, this is like, if it wasn't 10 feet, man, it was 8 to 10.
Yeah.
It was a big shark.
A big boy.
I could not have gotten, touched the tips of my fingers around its girth. Like it was
a big
It had
fish.
a school of fish around it. It had like a bunch of remoras attached to it behind the gills waiting for the leftovers.
Let's just say it was a very big fish.
It's coming in hot. It's coming in zigzagging. You can tell when a shark is coming in docile. They're just kind of lazy. This guy was coming in jerking side to side, coming at me. I'm trying to get Mike's attention. He's got his head in the porthole. So I can't leave him exposed like this. So I got to get in between him and the shark. And I've got my spear gun. And I've got a 4 foot long 48 special. It's a 4 foot long spear gun. So I'm holding it out, and I'm trying to track the shark, as it's going back and forth. And I'm kind of backing up, trying to get to Mike. He's still a couple feet behind me. Well, the shark gets too close. So I reach out and I tap the shark in the side of the head. Just kind of reach out and touch it. Usually once you touch it with something, even if it's your finger, they'll swim off. It didn't react. So I take my finger and I take off the safety so I could actually pull the trigger. I had 3 bands holding the spear, but if I shoot him, the shark was so big, if I shoot him, he's going to run off and I'm going to lose my spear gun because the spear is attached by a cord to the gun itself.
Yeah.
And I know the shark's too big to kill, and it's going to embed in the shark, and I'm just going to lose it. Then I'm going to be unarmed. So but still, I got, I don't know what else to do at this point. So I take the safety off, and then I jab him in the side of the head. As soon as I do that, fast as lightning, this big ass shark, fast as lightning, turns its head, bites down the tip of my spear, just like 3 feet in front of me, and starts thrashing my spear gun, biting on the metal spear.
And you're still holding it.
And I'm holding it, just about to pull the trigger, but also realizing that ain't even going to help me at this point, and I'm just getting thrashed. And then I see, a shape come up in my peripheral vision on this side. And there was another shark that was off to the back, a smaller shark.
Yeah.
So,
once the frenzy starts.
Exactly. So now I'm thinking the other shark's coming up and I'm fucked. so I jerked my head to the side, and fortunately, it wasn't the other shark. It was Mike, who had felt the commotion and got his head out of the porthole, and he was coming up and coming to my help to the side of me and jabbed the shark in the side of the head while the shark's splashing my spear gun. Shark lets go and swims off.
Man, oh man.
So now we're going straight up. So we go to the anchor line. We're looking at each other wide-eyed. We go to the anchor line, and we can't just go straight up. We entered at 90-foot depth. So we have to, at the very least, do a 3-minute safety stop at 15 feet below the surface. So we go up the anchor line, and we stop at 15 feet. And we know we have to do this 3-minute safety stop. If not, odds are we're going to get the bends.
Yeah.
We can't, you can't, but now we don't have the wreck, to have your back to. So you're in open water.
Oh yeah.
Just can't see the shark anymore. The shark's going to still be there and the other one's still there, but you can't see either of them, but they haven't gone anywhere. You just can't see them. So the longest 3 minutes of my fucking life.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
still got fish bleeding out of the side of my hip, from the chum bag.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking around and, looking at my watch, and I think it's got to be 2 minutes. It's been like 20 seconds.
Oh my God.
Finally, after like 2.5 minutes, I finally just said, fuck it, and went on up. I cut it short, by a little bit. And we got on that boat so fucking quick. I still didn't know it was a bull shark at that time. We were debating on the boat what kind of shark it was. This was on the weekend. It wasn't until we got back to Raleigh, the next day, Sunday, we get back to Raleigh. And then on Thursday in the Raleigh News and Observer and the sports section, on Thursday, they have the outdoors section, and they profile a fish or an animal. If it's deer season, it'll be a deer. If it's turkey season, it'll be a turkey. Whatever fishing season is, it'll be that fish. Well, as soon as I opened it up that Thursday, I saw the profile of the shark. I was like, oh, that was the fucking shark. And then I read bull shark. And that's when I was like, oh, wow. Fuck. We were dealing with a fucking monster bull shark. And the reason it was being profiled that week was because there had been so many sightings of them this prior week, off the coast of North Carolina.
My God.
Yeah. Like, that's the deadliest shark. You'd rather be around a great white than a fucking bull shark.
No, the bull shark is what Jaws was made after.
Yeah.
The movie.
Yeah. I've heard that story. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't a great white. It was a bull shark attacks in Jersey.
Yeah.
That actually spawned the movie Jaws.
Yeah. But fortunately, I didn't identify it as a bull shark. Because
very aggressive fish.
They can tell your heart. They can feel your rhythm change in your heart.
Yeah.
If you're scared. And fortunately, I wasn't scared, and it still attacked me aggressively.
You stabbed it.
Even after stabbing it, it was still coming at me. Had I identified it as a bull shark, I would have been afraid on its approach, and it probably is a good chance it would have, had an even more aggressive attack and a more relentless attack, and possibly even come back at me on the way up. But it was a significant enough event in my life that I got the tattoo to commemorate it.
No shit. Well, Eric.
Yeah.
My friend.
Yeah, man.
We've gone 3 hours. Maybe a little more.
Yeah.
So I want to stop it there.
All right.
At least take a break.
All right.
And we'll let comments flow in on more of your life for sure.
Oh, I got a lot more stories.
I know you got a lot more stories.
Gotten into Russia or Costa Rica, not really.
No, not really. But I want to say we've covered a lot.
We've covered a lot. We got a good base layer.
We've got we've got a base layer, and if this is something, because I really want to gauge if this is more, because this is a different interview than I've had yet.
Yeah.
Most of mine have been light, quick, and quick.
Well, I'm glad.
But we've dived deep into what is Eric Langford, and I appreciate it, and I like that we documented it. And
that's what I'm appreciative of is getting the documentation, because I've been told so many times that, like that I should write a book or, get
And
these
we've only gotten a
stories.
little bit of it.
Yeah.
But what I need to know, and because I'm such a young podcast, is I need to know if this is something that people want to hear more of. And I'm not saying I always do. We are good friends, and I always want to hear more of it.
Not only that, but one thing I'm always
and a lot of that I didn't know you did, which is just wild.
And one thing I'm always conscious of is the believability, because I got the receipts. I can.
Oh my
I
God!
can show proof.
Nobody's wondering if this is made up.
Well,
I can tell you that right now.
The reason I say that is because, I've told some of these stories, around the world. When I was in Russia drinking with my friends I made there, and I'm telling them stories, and in Costa Rica telling stories, and then back here telling stories about there, and a lot of a lot of people that don't know me, that don't know, how legit I am. Well, I'll get that look where it's not legit.
It's just your life.
Don't really, either they don't believe it or they think maybe I'm exaggerating. And if anything, I'm downplaying. Like, I am not a great storyteller.
You are 100% not exaggerating.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's one reason why you're down here.
And like I said, I can tell you about the 13.5-pound lobster that I shot.
No,
and I've got the picture of that I brought with me to show.
Nobody on this podcast needs to know that. And at some point, I will be good enough to throw pictures up there.
Yeah,
and it will happen. And now I got to figure out how to edit this so that we can put it all together.
Yeah,
because this is a super long podcast.
Make it separate episodes, man. It could be,
Well, we could make it separate episodes, but I'd like to throw it all together and let people watch it, and just let people enjoy it.
Or one part can be the teaser, and then the rest of it could be behind a paywall, Patreon, whatever.
Well, no, it's this is all going to be put out for everybody. But there will be in the future a Patreon where me and you go in a little bit of a deeper dive into some of these stories, because I know we scratched the surface, because I already kind of briefed you on how I like to keep this, light, I guess you could say, like, and there's situations or stories that we could have told that are just off the rocker that some people might want to hear. And if they want to go on a Patreon to hear that, then we will have that episode. They just got a comment.
I got one Costa Rica thing.
To know that.
I'll just give the outline of it.
Okay, a quick outline, because we are wrapping up.
That the national rodeo, the second or third largest national rodeo in Costa Rica, I won the audience participation event, and it's on national TV.
Really?
It was on national TV in Costa Rica, and it's on YouTube. The video highlights of it are on YouTube, and the final part of it, like, it started with a bunch of people from the crowd, like, I don't know, 30 or so plus people with a bunch of bulls chasing us around, and then there was 4 or 5 elimination stages, which got down to the final 2 of us, and the final 2 of us had to hold the red cape and let the bull charge.
Oh my god!
And the other guy, who I was the only gringo, being
sure. Oh yeah.
And the other guy went first. He, when the bull started charging him, he got scared, turned and ran, and got trampled by the bull. And
my god!
And I didn't know that all these events were going to happen.
Which is probably what saved you.
And then, so after I saw him get trampled, I'm like, well, I'm definitely not faster than him. Don't outrun the bull, right? So I get the cape, and then the bull I get the bull to charge me, and then I perfectly hold it to the side, drape it over his horns, and I won the whole event, and it's on YouTube.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Yeah. That we definitely have to dive into deeper on how that came about, and how you started that endeavor.
Yeah.
But that, and that's what I'm talking about with, I think.
So I've been on national TV
in 2 different countries. Like this are Jerry Springer show,
and the National Rodeo in Costa Rica.
And this is why, it's not just when I started this podcast, it's not, I've had a wild life.
We all have.
Your life is just unreal. And
That's why I say, like, a lot of people are like,
no, I don't
really.
No, I 100% believe
people
it.
that know me. I'm saying when I run into people,
And you just
that,
spurt out one of these stories, and they're like, "What?"
Telling stories for the first time we met, and then all of a sudden a story comes up, and I get that side eye, like, sure,
no,
buddy.
I witnessed most of these, and just and if somebody says there must be a manual override on this lock somewhere, they've been through some shit, because nobody says that. And that's what I said to Mike.
And then when Herman
doesn't
even want to look up, like, I've seen it. Yeah, whatever he's doing, I've seen it.
Yeah. That's a different kind of animal, and and coming from where I come from, and knowing you, and the fact that someday I will have Elvis/Ogre on here.
Got to get Brian
and Mike.
Got to get Mike.
Yeah. And the other Mike, and the Mike we went
Mike
down the
and Brian are such great storytellers, man. Like I pale in comparison.
Well, I'll tell you what, though,
how good they.
I do believe
stories.
Brian is, and Mike is as well. But when you put this there, it's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
You put this camera in front of somebody, and they clam up.
I understand.
So yeah, if I can get a few drinks, and Brian and Mike, and they want to come on here, tell them to come on here. Yeah, because a lot of Mike and Brian's stories,
they're gonna want the invite from you personally.
Oh, and I'll do it,
of course. Yeah,
and like I just remember the times I've met Brian. Mm-hmm. It seems like every time we met, we had to wrestle.
Yeah,
it was like a prerequisite. Yeah. We fucking wrestled.
Yeah, and Mike. By the way, I meant to say this earlier at the beginning of the night. The something came up about when you and Mike meet. Every time you and Mike meet, you at the end of it, you always say something like, "Don't call me again," or like.
There may be something.
There's something to that, and
there was a small thing that we had
in jest, but I think he doesn't know. I think he's not sure about that. Like,
I think we talked about this before.
Yeah, he brought it up one time.
I was like, dude,
like
Mike, we are solid as hell, man.
Yeah. I make sure that you let him know that.
Oh my God, we are 100% solid.
No,
and when
I
you
know.
pass this to him,
I've tried to explain that to him, but I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
But like
it's whatever we did, it was always as a joke, and they're as bold because they're northern, so they're as bold as I am with their crassness. I
was
guess
the last time the Carolina Beach North End camping trip?
Oh my God!
Was that the last time you saw Mike?
No, it wasn't the last time. I think I went to Mike's house after that.
Okay.
For a short visit, I went and saw his house, and we hung out for a little while.
Yeah, and at the end of that, I think again you're like, all right, don't call me again.
Yeah, something weird. We were just like toying around.
Right, that's
what I thought we were doing.
I knew that's how you saw it, and but I think he was not sure.
No, God, no. Me and Mike, we always, excuse me, we always had a good time.
Yeah. I know you love him. You never said a bad thing about him.
Oh my God, no. And Brian, man, that guy.
Those guys are solid gold, man. And and you get them behind a microphone, especially Mike. You get Mike behind a microphone, and man, he can tell these stories that I've completely forgotten. that he can,
I
think be on stage.
They need to be documented. I think
be on stage, it's him.
I think that's what's so great about this right here that we did, because you get these. I don't want to get in too deep of this, but you get a lot of podcasts with famous people, and God's honest truth, their life is not as interesting as yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just that you're not famous.
And we're going to lose these stories if we don't
tell them, if we don't express them. And I'm glad I got to know you this much better.
I've already forgotten so many stories that like, man, I can't tell you.
Well, there's also a lot we can't even put on record.
I know, there's that. But I also, man, I can't tell you how many times throughout my life that I've run into somebody that I kind of vaguely remember that I hadn't seen them in many years.
And they're in awe of you because of
like,
what you did just in the short period you knew them.
Right. They'll say like, "Oh my God, you remember, this time
Eric, you're a legend." And you're like, "I don't even remember that."
Well, this is what I get. This is what I hear all, I've heard many times is somebody's like, oh, you remember this time we went out and did this and this and this and that happened, and man, it was the greatest night of my life. And I'm sitting there like, I can't even fucking remember it, man. It was their best night of their life, and I'm like, I can't even fucking
That's
remember
wild.
it.
Yeah.
Like it was like a random Tuesday, and it's like, and that's happened more times than I'd like to admit. Like I don't know if my memory's just that bad, or I get that drunk, or I've just had too many fucking crazy experiences, or whatever.
Well, I think it's the amount of experiences you've had where you like to push the envelope, and then when you get with people who like to push the envelope, those stories get bigger.
That's where you find out where the edge actually is. Man.
Yeah,
you gotta find where that edge is.
So I'm gonna stop it right there for now. Eric's coming back at some point. I definitely want to know how this escapade went, because this is one of the longest podcasts I've ever done, and I think that Eric is somebody who needs that much time to go over his life and his experiences. So I want to know how this went for you guys, how entertaining it was, what I can improve on. I want to know all that stuff, because I do like keeping it light. I do like having a good time, but at the same time, I also like diving into interesting people's stories and getting them out there, and like Eric says, documented, because Grizz has a life that deserves to be put on the internet for people to discover throughout the years. I mean, this is stuff that 90% of people just don't experience.
Yeah, we got to find that Jerry Springer episode, but if you want to see the rodeo episode, you can go on YouTube. Can you check and verify?
Buddy.
Yeah, look up.
Buddy, I'm not there yet.
If you go on YouTube and it's like, Eric Langford, Grizzly, Costa Rica rodeo. I think those key words should get you there. It got taken down.
Go ahead and try and find it.
Yeah, it got taken down after the first time.
I'd like to find the Jerry Springer episode myself.
Yeah,
but
I've been trying to recover that.
And when we do find these links to get to those, I will somehow post them on my site as well. I can't do that right now because I am not in that type of state, which is where you guys come in to help me get to that point where I can have somebody actually working for me and pulling this stuff up. That would be
all
great.
right. Here it is. So
you found it.
Yeah, Eric Langford, Grizzly, Bull, Bear.
Eric Langford, Grizzly, Bull, Bear.
Yeah,
go ahead
those
and
keywords.
They're not going to be able to see that, but Eric, Grizzly, Bull, Bear.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah, Eric Langford
wins. Eric Langford.
Oh, the title is Eric Langford Wins Rodeo Competition. The reason it got pulled from YouTube the first time, it actually was going viral. I had named it Bull versus Bear.
I see.
And then it went viral, and then a lot of people that had no fucking clue who I was, or the other people that
Bull versus Grizz.
They were expecting to see a bull versus an actual grizzly bear, and then I had all these comments that were like, "Boo!" Like, where's the grizzly bear? And I'm like, and I was responding like, well, if you don't know, then it wasn't for you, like. You
didn't expect it to go viral.
Like, if you're literally just randomly looking for bull fights versus grizzly bear fights and you don't know me, then this wasn't for you. But it went viral, and then they complained that it wasn't accurate to the title, and it got pulled, and I had to repost it with a different title, and now it only has a couple whatever views. Anyway,
in the end, this will happen
again.
It's
on YouTube, so.
And that is on YouTube. We can witness that, and like I said, this has been a wild ride, especially I got to tell you, Eric, we're 3+ hours into what could go another hour and a half easy.
Oh, we got several more episodes.
And we will dive into them. And I think we're going to start doing it in stages because, I really want to know how I put something like this out, because I don't want to I'm not going to say bore, because there's nothing boring about your life. I want to say overwhelmed.
But this is
like, how do I put this out? It's a lot of content.
Yeah.
And I want to put it out to where people can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I know.
Find a stopping point after somewhere about an hour, and get that out. And then,
I think we had a good stopping point when your dad came in.
I agree. I think that was a good introduction.
And I can't believe he came here. I didn't even know he knew where I lived. He must have had your
address. I didn't believe you when you said, "Oh, hey, Renee." I was like, "Oh, shut up." What? I was
like, what is your dad doing walking around my basement?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And
I was just talking about Langford Construction, and then
it's wild. And but no, let's not keep. Damn it, it's going to end up 3 hours. So here's where we're going to stop it.
Hey man, 3 hours makes 3 1-hour episodes.
Eric, thank you. This has been wonderful.
Mike, my pleasure, and thank you for doing this and giving me a platform to get some of this, out
this is just the beginning.
And before I forget,
this is just the beginning of the documentation, because like you said, some of the stuff you don't remember. And when Mike and Brian come on, there's going to be more Grizz escapades that you're going to be like,
there's several Mardi Gras trips. There's several Vegas trips, man.
And I think there's coming
10
from
years of Costa Rica.
Yeah.
There's 6 months of Russia. Like there's a lot of
so just to sum it up, there was the school, there was me, there was the school, there was Russia, there was me, there was
a small taste of Russia. You didn't get really
we didn't get into Russia too much, which we can dive into later. But then there's Costa Rica, and then taste. What we started out with was the ailments of the surgeries.
Yeah, and I want to reiterate in case you didn't catch the beginning, if that was ends up being a separate previous episode, that my public service announcement to anybody listening: if you or any of your loved ones goes for surgery, make sure,
extensive surgery,
any surgery at all, make sure after surgery for several months, get blood tests to make sure you did not get a staph infection during the surgery. You need to test for elevated C-reactive proteins that indicates that you could have an infection. And then if you do test positive for elevated C-reactive protein count, then you need to get cultures done from the site around the surgery site in order to to culture for what exact bacteria you have. And that's you can't directly test for staph infection. You have to go through that and talk to a doctor, get some help with this. Don't just go do it on your own, but get some help, and don't bother talking to your surgeon, because they're not going to help you with this. They're going to act like they want nothing to do with this. So you're going to have to, if you're in Raleigh,
for liability reasons, they're going to try and stay away from it, and you want to be proactive.
If you're in Raleigh, go talk to Raleigh Infectious Disease. They'll help you. They'll do this for you. They'll talk you through it. If you're not in Raleigh, call Raleigh Infectious Disease and get a recommendation from them, for, wherever you're at, whatever region, country, city, state, whatever. But even if you got to pay out of pocket, this can save your life. It can save your limbs. This is the most important thing that you'll ever hear come out of my mouth. And please pay attention to that.
So with that being said, I want to end this first extremely long episode and a deep dive into Eric Grizz Langford's life which I would like to continue at some point. But I want to thank everybody for coming out, as always. Thanks for coming down to Mike's.
This was a life in the day of the grizzly bear.
A life in the day of the grizzly bear. Eric Langford. Okay? I want to say thank you and good night to everybody. Yeah? You want to say thank